Hey everyone, it's Ride1940 here. Today we're taking a look at Sea Power Naval Combat, the Missile Age, and this is something very, very, very special. This is an Arleigh Burke in the game, and I didn't need to use anchor chain, and I didn't need to use sea lifter. I just downloaded the NTU mod by nuclearstonk, and I have an Arleigh Burke in game that is not a kit batch. Like, this looks amazing. I am very familiar with this ship. This is one that I was on in Pearl Harbor. And this is Oahu right here. So this is what we would see generally. I think one of the reasons I've always kind of said I think the game should get some high resolution terrain around some places is strategic places like Pearl Harbor I think should get a little uplift. Obviously this is iconic. This would be Diamond Head, but we don't really see that. Waikiki's all over here. And then Honolulu International Airport's over here where the port royal ran aground. But I'll make a video on that. I'll make a separate video on that because that's the whole thing. But this is visually exactly kind of what I saw when it all went down. And this is this should be the entrance to Pearl Harbor, but because it's really low resolution, there's really no channel or anything. It's like landlocked, and there's like a couple puddles back there, I think. But anyways, we're going to use this video to talk about this amazing model by nuclearstonk. It looks great. This is a Flight I. Now the mod has a couple flights in it. It's got Flight 1 and Flight 2. I think there's other flights planned, like 2 Alpha and 3 maybe. But even within the flights that we have, there are different year vintages. So this is 96. I think also it's supporting a 2003 vintage for some other ships. And I think 2007 is what I heard is also planned. So really nice and cool to hear that. This is the 96 one, like I said, so the Nixie chocks are a little older, but the newer ones, they should have like round chocks. But this is, look at the stern there. This is exactly what I remember seeing. I didn't go underwater to see this, but I'll tell you, I used to do VBSS boarding, so part of the thing when we were coming off the boat or gutting onto those ribs there, they'd come alongside right over here, and you can get in the small boat, and you can imagine like looking down there and just seeing these massive, I think 20-foot props going by. And I was so amazed at how slow they were turning and how fast it was actually propelling the ship, and just how big they were. It's crazy. I actually have a terrible story of a guy when we were coming back from a VBSS mission. We were coming alongside over here. He was the SAR swimmer, so he was reaching up to get the painter's line the bosun's mates were handing down to him. And basically the painter's line would just kind of drag the boat against the mothership here to make it easier for us to climb aboard. And they didn't secure the VCHT discharge. There's one somewhere around on this side, and that's the poop water basically. So he basically had a bunch of sewage water poured onto him, so he immediately jumped in the ocean to get himself clean. And the guys in the front of the boat, luckily I was sitting like on the back part of the boat, I moved out of the way so they can come running back. They avoided this they avoided the splash zone basically. It was a terrible like SeaWorld thing. Yeah, that was not good. He also got a flesh-eating bacteria thing from Jakarta, Indonesia, because he was on this line 4 I think it was, because line 4, 5, 6 back aft here on the destroyer, and the Jakarta water is just the most disgusting water I've seen in the world for ocean water. It's actually quite sad to see, because you could be, I remember we couldn't even see Jakarta yet, and the ocean water was like really brackish. So anyways, we were leaving Jakarta, and the people on the pier just like threw the line in the water, which is kind of like I don't know if they were doing that on purpose or what, but when you do that, it sucks for the lines, because the lines are like big, so when they get soaked in water, they get really musty when you stow them below decks, and it's just really gross. So most people, when they're doing that job on the pier, they'll throw the line in the air when there's like the last bit of rope for the people to pull on, and then you on the ship pull as fast as possible, so you minimize how much of it does get wet, if it gets wet at all. So when they saw the guys were dumping them in the line, dumping the lines in the water, his line, some of the guys I think ran back with the line, and he was the forward guy and he wasn't prepared for that, so he got like a nasty rope burn from some wet lines. Unfortunately those lines had some water on them that had like flesh-eating bacteria, and it like carved up his right forearm pretty good. I think he got off deployment, arrested deployment for that, but yeah, he had a rough deployment. That was pretty crazy. Yeah, so this is a flight deck here. We've got, this folds down like it should. That's really nice. This is the torpedo magazine. So it's to facilitate giving torpedoes to the helicopter. This game is really cool now. In regards to torpedoes, like it will take it from your stocks on the ship. So you got to be careful with your torpedo shots and think about preserving them, because if you waste them on helicopters for poor shots and you take them out of your magazine here, then you can't really use these if you run dry, right? So you need to think about that kind of stuff now, which is really fun. This is you can imagine, this is good for like helicopter reloading. It's not good for the torpedo tubes because they're actually on the missile deck here. So we actually would have to use the VLS. Let me change views here. We'd actually have to use the VLS crane, which is stowed in one of the, I think it's like across 3 cells. I can't remember quite where it is, but somewhere around here, I think, because we would always roll the torpedo out this way, use the crane, lift it up, and then I think that these guys actually, they face forward like this. This is correct. We'd have to put the nets down and then rotate it the other way, because you got to put the torpedoes in like from the back side of it. You take the big round air flasks off, you stow them on the bulkhead there, and then you slide the torpedo in. So you'd always have to do that. It was I wouldn't say it's a pain, but it is kind of, definitely takes like half the day to do all of them, get everything set up and that kind of stuff. This is the boat deck, so we got the slewing arm davit. That looks exactly how it should. That's 3 gen back there. That's the gas turbine generator. There's also gas turbine engines, the gas turbine modules. There's 2 per each shaft. So there's 4 total there. They're kind of in a weird alignment. I think there's 2 main engine rooms, if I remember correctly. Yeah, then there's this is the main peewee that goes up the starboard side, goes all the way up forward. And if we go a little bit moving up forward here, this is where you do your unreps for your stores and stuff like that. We would take palletized cargo on board, food and that kind of thing, and then I think this goes down to like one of the supply things that would open up. I'd get the pallets in there to break them down. There should be a door on the other side, and there is. That's a really good detail there. These doors are actually like the quarterdeck little shack, so they'll have a little desk in there, or mounted on the bulkhead basically, where you put your deck log in. You'll have your alarms, like for general collision, chemical alarms are in there. You'll have the 1MC announcement system, and I think you'd also do other circuits as well. So all that stuff is there, and then people would stand out here on the quarterdeck with like a podium or something where the actual watch is being stood. But that's just to be able to run everything from there when we're pier side. Usually we were starboard side too when we were in Pearl Harbor. I don't know if there's a reason for that or not, but over there you see the Port Royal. I'll do a video on that whole bit. But yeah, this looks amazing. I think there should have been maybe rails around here, because I remember this would be tagged like out of bounds. Well, out of bounds is what the Royal Navy says. This probably say secured or something. That's what the U.S. Navy would say. It's just I've been hearing that so much in my job that I'm used to saying out of bounds now. This is cool too. This is also like the big starboard windbreak here. This would open up, and there's also a door attached to it. Typically, you just see this. I mean, this would only be like this because if they were doing vert reps on the front here, taking palletized cargo on board. Otherwise, this would always be closed like this, and we just use the small doors to traverse around. And when I was in VBSS, we had to do a lot of exercise and stuff, which was great because all of us liked working out. And part of the thing is we would do weightlifting in our gym, and then we'd go up topside about around here and do boxing for like an hour or something like that. And then I would also try to run a couple miles a day. So on a destroyer, you look around, you're like, where the heck when you run? Some people were nuts, and they would actually go down the flight deck and then come back. I didn't like that because the ladders kind of sucked. So basically, I would just run this loop where I would go around between the aft stack and the harpoon launchers, and come down this way, go all the way up forward on the starboard side, go up that way, and then run back down to minimize the interference. And you'd have to do like a bajillion laps. I don't remember how many it was for it to count for a mile, but it was a lot. And the whole time you're kind of dodging all the different bits and bobs that are on the deck and people, of course. Yeah, it was not not nice, but I definitely like that more over than treadmill. Alright, so looking up forward, this looks amazing. This is the Mount 2.1, and the other CWIS mount is Mount 2.2. I remember we always had this joke that they would never be working at the same time. For some reason, I think that looks higher than it should be, but maybe I'm thinking of it wrong. Anyways, we'd always have like one going, and the second one would be down. Once that was fixed, then that other one would go down. I remember helping someone get some sort of like battery pack or something. There's like a trunk that had gone up towards the mount, and I helped the dude install it. And I was like, because we were all in weapons department together, so I was like kind of to say thank you. He let me do a pack fire where that's I think it's called like pre-alignment check fire or calibration fire, something like that. Basically, you're just testing out the gun, and I was in the mount locally somewhere. There's like a room, and I pushed the fire button when it was my time, and I pressed the button for like a couple seconds, and like all 200 rounds were gone. Like this is a crazy weapon system. 200 rounds of 20 millimeter just in a wall going down range. It's pretty nuts. So just really nice looking model here. This is the elevator that goes down to the deep magazine where the 5-inch rounds are stowed. Oh, actually, yeah, you can see the. So this is the VLS crane right here. You can see the three cells that aren't separated there. They're just all together. I wonder if we can see that back aft here. Oh yeah, it is on the side. Yeah, that's 3. That's cool. That's really neat. What a neat detail. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, they craned it up on the starboard side. We'd always do the torpedo on the side, so it must have been the right spot. Man, going around here is just so cool. I'm so glad that this is in the game now without having to use other programs to import it and all the work that you got to do. Yeah, it's just you download the mod, you have Arleigh Burkes. It's that simple. It's really cool. Oh man, the mast here is insane too. So Sonar techs own like the lowest thing in the ship, right? The sonar dome, the SQS-53 Charlie, and they actually own one of the higher antennas here. So if you could imagine, for sonobuoys, we want to have a high antenna so that we have better line of sight range, right? If we want to connect to our sonobuoys, because we don't always have to connect through the helicopter to get to our sonobuoys. We can do that if we wanted to. You can't do it in Sea Power, but if we wanted to in real life, you can just throw them in the ocean and tune them up and do it that way. So anyways, there's a clean inspect thing that you got to do every once in a while to make sure it's all attached right up there. And everybody in my division was afraid of heights, and including myself. But I always had to go up there because everyone else didn't want to go up there because they were too afraid. And I would always drag somebody up there with me because you're supposed to have 2 people when you go up there to do that check. And I think that this is supposed to model the door maybe, but yeah, there's a little hatch that you go into, and you actually climb inside the structure of the mast. And yeah, ours is like the top yard arm. I think it was on the port side. But the way that it works is on the Arleigh Burke, you come out of the door like over here, and then you shimmy around, and then you attach yourself to the mast or the yard arm, but you have to lean against the yard arm, and then your feet just go on these little bars down here. So you shimmy all the way over to the end, do your inspection, come back, and you can imagine being that high up. The rolls are actually more exaggerated, right? Because the center of the roll is deep down there. So if you're closer to that roll point, you're not going to feel as much movement as you would if you're far away from it. There's more distance you're traveling. So you would be doing some checks at sea underway, and it's especially frightening if you are afraid of heights. It's like terrifying, but you got to do it anyways. All right, so yeah, this is the NTU mod. Flight 1s, Flight 2s, different vintages, great looking model. I mean, I can't find any faults in this model. I mean, aside from the hull colors, for the hull numbers, these ships would just have the low vis hull numbers, so it'll be like a light gray and then like a darker gray for the shadow. This is more of an Atlantic fleet sort of thing back in the or Cold War era, this was normal. And I think that's maybe just importing the numbers from the base game. I don't see any issue with that. I mean, that's just being nitpicky, and really, I prefer this. The frigate I was on, we were supposed to have the low vis hull numbers, and my CO just didn't care. He thought he just liked how the black shadow like popped, and our ship was always super clean, so he liked that on the hull. And the Desron would come over and complain to him to fix it, and he'd be like, okay, and he would always tell the bosun's mate to never fix it. And our ship stayed like that. And I remember telling somebody about that, and if you googled a picture of our ship in that time frame, you'd see that coloring. This is hilarious. Oh man. But yeah, I hope that we see missions with this destroyer, Flight 1. If it's an ASW mission, I would be so freaking happy. I really want to use the ASROCs on this thing, or I say ASROCs, but they're VLAs. And actually, I got a NAM, a Navy Achievement Medal, on this ship for fixing something for an operational test of the Mark 54 torpedo, which was on a Mark 54 VLA, or the Mark 54 VLA. They weren't out in the fleet yet. Basically, super basic rundown of that system. So obviously we know the Mark 46 is like, it's got an engine. Mark 50s are just electric powered, so they're powered off a lithium battery. The Mark 54 was like a thermal body plus like an advanced seeker head and stuff like that, but it wasn't electric. And they hadn't put them on VLAs yet, so we were doing this operational test, and I was supposed to have my towed array up and running, and I grew my system really nice all the time to make sure it was perfect. And when we were like a month out from doing this test, I find out that like my towed array is like showing some weird kind of like graphical glitch, like on the displays down in Sonar Control. And this test required we would track something and then fire at it, right? Because it's just basically like a end-to-end test. Can you pick something up and then shoot at it? And so because it was so vital, they had tech reps from the there's like this depot level maintenance thing that all the ports will have, and there's subject matter experts on all these systems, and they'll come out to the ship to help you fix it if you can't fix it yourself. And you learn a lot from the tech rep guys, because they are the experts at it, and a lot of them have spent their whole career in the Navy doing that, and then now they do that as like a civilian govy. I don't know if they still have that stuff now, but they came out, they couldn't fix it, and they're like, what the heck? So they have a lot of the other senior technicians from some of the ships were coming over to like take a look at it, and nobody could figure it out. I was like stressing out like crazy, because I was always proud of my system being so fault free, and it was really annoying that we're going to do this big test and my system is like not behaving. And I'm the kind of person where if I can't figure it out, it'll drive me crazy until I figure it out, and I got to do everything I can to figure it out, especially if it's my responsibility to be that expert on the ship. So it's like a couple weeks or 3 weeks in, and you're so stressed out about it that you're like dreaming about this now. So you're dreaming about fixing this thing, and one night I have a dream where I do something, and I immediately wake up from it, like it shocks me awake. And I'm like, I gotta try this before I forget it, because sometimes you forget your dreams, right? By the time like a couple hours after you wake up, a lot of times you just forget them. So I woke up, I don't know when it was probably like 3 a.m. or something, go run down to Sonar Control, and then I go and try this thing, and then it works. And I fixed it. I fixed it from something in my dream. I was just so stressed out about it. I was doing stuff in my brain while I was sleeping to fix this damn thing, and it actually worked. And it was enough time that the test wasn't canceled, so we were able to do it. It was successful. And because of that, I got a NAM, a Navy Achievement Medal, my first one. So I was really proud of that. That was really fun. Not a fun experience to go through, being the guy where you're like, get your shit working, dude, what's going on? But it was really fun to get a NAM, because at that point I never had one. And most of the times you get it, I don't know if it's the same now, but in the Navy it was always like a gimme. When you change commands, basically you might get one if you were a good sailor. But yeah, that was really fun. to get that, and then to get the system going for the shoot. And then I remember after we fired it, I think we fired a couple. We had it was the aft missile deck, because I remember we were responsible for like cleaning up the residue and stuff, because when these missiles go off, they burn the top part of these things. So we had to wash them down, clean them up, because we own the aft missile deck. But yeah, this is the NTU mod. You can go ahead and download it. You probably already have it downloaded, because this is a really popular mod, and rightfully so. Like, nuclearstonk's done a lot of work and research, and now they are importing the models into the game, and this just makes it so much nicer. I mean, yeah. And if you're a mission maker, please make missions with this thing, because I want to play with Arleigh Burks, please. And thank you. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below, and I'll get to them as soon as possible. See you in the next one. Bye!